damn it. Sorry, I was trying to get the test my stream to see if I'm walking, but apparently it's not going through. We will. Okay. Fuck. Let's see. There we go. Okay, this is Dr. Blix. And it's about to read the Antarctic Treaty. Just for the hell of it.
Of course, I don't know if any of this that's true. You know, there's a lot of ancient history that's just skewed or lost.
Okay, so they did conduct one real expedition in 1938 and 1939. This is before World War II, to scout for whaling stations and potential naval bases.
Yeah, the Nazis did that. They actually went on other archaeological digs to try to find out the history of the alien people. Which doesn't make sense because it's the symbol. Hitler uses the swastika was bastardized from a good luck symbol that was in the Hindu religion. So that's, yeah.
But yeah, that was the expedition that they did. So we'll pull up the Antarctic Treaty.
All right, check it out.
Here we go. This is the official Antarctic Treaty website. This is the Secretariat of the Antarctic Treaty. So these are the important provisions, right? Antarctica shall be used for peaceful purposes only. Freedom of scientific investigation in Antarctica and cooperation toward that end shall continue. Scientific observations and results from Antarctica shall be exchanged and made freely available. There were 7 countries with territorial claims that were overlapping. No acts or activities taking place while the present treaty is in force shall constitute a basis for asserting, supporting, or denying a claim to territorial sovereignty in Antarctica or create any rights of sovereignty in Antarctica. No new claim or enlargement of an existing claim to territorial sovereignty in Antarctica shall be asserted while the present treaty is in force, which it is in force. We can look up the actual original, or maybe we want the searchable version. Here we go. It's like 6 pages long. By the way, so we can just scroll through really quick. So these are the original signing, authors or something like this. Not like there are other countries that have signed on, but these are like the original authors. So the first article is about peaceful purposes. Any measure of a military nature, such as the establishment of military bases and fortifications, the carrying out of military maneuvers, as well as the testing of any type of weapons, are prohibited. So you can't do military stuff in Antarctica. The present treaty shall not prevent the use of military personnel or equipment for scientific research or for any other peaceful purpose. Freedom of scientific investigation is Article 2. Article 3 is more about...
Let's check out Article 2.
Yeah, it's just freedom of scientific investigation in Antarctica and cooperation toward that end, as applied during the International Geophysical Year, shall continue subject to the provisions of the present treaty. Now there's Article 3, which is about promoting international cooperation. You have to exchange your information when you're like doing science there.
Okay, I have to pause it. Or I could turn on my mic. That's pretty loud. It's pretty fucking loud. I mean, test it. Can't even turn that part down. Let's see.
Article 4, nothing contained in the present treaty shall be interpreted as a renunciation by any country. This is basically saying that, these countries, they do have their sovereignty.
Let's see how that worked.
stating their sovereignty.
Maybe.
No acts or activities taking place while the present treaty is in force shall constitute a basis for asserting, supporting, or denying any claims to territory. We already read this part. Any nuclear explosions in Antarctica and disposal of their radioactive waste material shall be prohibited, so you can't do nuclear stuff there. In the event of conclusion of international agreements concerning the use of nuclear energy, including nuclear explosions and blah, 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 the rules of like,
No.
everything will follow under the Article 9. Nothing particularly interesting there. The provisions of the present treaty shall apply to the area south of 60 degrees south latitude, including all ice shelves, and this is just saying what counts as Antarctica.
There's not ice shelves in Antarctica?
There's literally the Ross ice shelf and the Ron ice shelf. Okay. Article 7 is in order to promote the objectives and ensure the observance of the provisions of the present treaty, each contracting party whose representatives are entitled to participate in the meetings referred to in Article 9 of the treaty shall have the right to designate observers to carry out any inspection provided for by the present article. So if there's a question of like somebody violating the treaty, like some organization violating the treaty, then the party members, contracting parties, can send observers to like observe over like the investigation or whatever, so that no one country is ruling the investigations. Each observer, this is just all about observers for these investigations. All areas of Antarctica, including all stations, installations, and equipment within those areas, and all ships and aircraft at points of discharging or embarking cargoes or personnel in Antarctica, shall be open at all times to inspections by any observers designated in accordance with paragraph 1 of this article. So like if you're a signatory of this treaty, then all of your ships and aircraft, so like all those things, those are open to inspection. And aerial observation may be carried out at any time over any or all areas of Antarctica by any of the contracting parties having the right to designate observers. So in fact, the United States, any of these countries, they can do aerial stuff if they want. Each contracting party shall, at the time when the present treaty enters into force, inform the other contracting parties, and thereafter shall give them notice in advance. All expeditions to and within Antarctica, so this is about the contracting parties. So all expeditions should notify everybody in the treaty. All stations in Antarctica occupied by its nationals, any military personnel or equipment, all of this stuff you have to notify the other members of the contracting parties for when you're doing any of these things, if you're a contracting party. Article 8. This is about jurisdiction. So nationals of a country are under the jurisdiction of the contracting party. So if they break a law, then they are subject to the jurisdiction of the country that they belong to. Article 9, this is about the meetings that were mentioned earlier. Representatives of the contracting parties named in the preamble present shall meet at the city of Canberra within 2 months after the date of entry into the force of treaty, and thereafter at suitable interests for the purpose of it. So basically there's a scheduled meeting every 6 months or every certain amount of time, just to talk about, make sure that everything's up and up. Each contracting party has become this is again about contracting parties. Reports from the observers, that's about the observers. Nothing here. Each of the contracting parties undertake to exert appropriate efforts consistent with the Charter of the United Nations to the end that no one engages in any activity in Antarctica contrary to the principles or purposes of the present treaty. So what that means is that the contracting parties are obliged to, if like some non-signatory country tries to do military stuff in Antarctica, the contracting parties are obliged to try to stop them from doing that, because that goes against the principles and purposes of the treaty. And then if there's disputes, then you can consult among themselves. That's fine. Article 12, it may be modified or amended at any time by unanimous agreement. This is all standard legal stuff. It should be subject to ratification by the signatory states. It should be open for accession by any state, so this is how other states can sign it. The present treaty, done in a whole bunch of languages, transmit, blah, 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 blah. So in particular, the only thing in this treaty that has anything to do with anybody who didn't sign the treaty is Article 10. And all that says is that if somebody who didn't sign the treaty is trying to, go against the principles or purposes of that treaty, then the members that did sign the treaty are obliged to try to stop that action. So imagine like if, I don't know, like Egypt tried to put nuclear weapons in Antarctica, then the signatories of the treaty would try to stop that, because that goes against the principles or purposes of the present treaty. But nowhere in the present treaty does it say that parties not member of the treaty can't fly over it. Nowhere does it say that they can have military intervene. That's not in the treaty at all.
So what I need to do is I need to find myself an Irishman who wants to fly over the South Pole with me. And
you can just get permission from the U.S. government. Like, you can do that.
Oh. Well, you want to go with me?
No, I'm good.
Why not?
Because
it'd be fun.
It'd be a waste of time.
Dude, imagine the
very expensive.
Imagine the conversations we would have on
Look, man, if you're paying and you'll subsidize my entire trip, like, you know, pay me a stipend and stuff, then maybe. Actually, no, I'd probably just get murked. But look, the point is you could have just read this. This is freely available. I'd probably get murked. This is freely available. I don't know why you didn't look at this.
Yeah, I don't know why I didn't do that either. That's crazy.
All right. Well, hey, wait, you've been on for a good while. I'm going to let you go.
Yeah,
but
man.
You have a lot to learn.
Yep.
Have a good one.
Okay, that was fucking awesome. And I hope that gets through. I hope that gets, because that was awesome. That was amazing. Okay, I'll see you in the next video. Bye. ASMR goodbye. The ASMR goodbye. Okay. Okay, I'm being fine. I'm being stupid. I don't care.